a blessing. So we're going to get started with puja now. And so puja, we had talked about earlier, let's see, I'm going to stop this. We had talked about earlier about what your intention was for our session today. So what did you think about that? What do you feel your intention is?
So it's actually something I've been trying to release further for like the last couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was I actually realized it after we did that Q&A session a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like the next day, I just when I was doing my energetic adjustment, like right before I started, I just suddenly had this epiphany that that I seem to always like whenever my anxiety like gets better for a bit,
Mm-hmm.
I always like seem to bring something back in to stress me out again.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
whether it's a memory or it's a thought or whatever, like I always kind of self-sabotage. And I just had this realization that I think I do that because I'm like addicted to it and the drama. Like that
Mm-hmm.
things for me, especially when it comes to relationships, like in the past were never easy. It was always like some like from my very first boyfriend, you know, it was always like something about it was difficult and I had to
Mm-hmm.
there was always so much turmoil in it and stress. And I realized that like I'm just so used to that that like I manifest that for myself in every relationship
Mm-hmm.
from then on. And it's like I'm addicted to that drama. So it's like if that drama isn't there, like things are going really well. I'm like, oh no, I can't have this. This isn't safe. This
Mm-hmm.
isn't right. It has to be hard. I have to make it hard. I have to create a problem, you know? And and I realize that I just do that also, like even now, just with anxiety. I mean, you know, my boyfriend isn't even physically here, but it's like I'm still like trying to make things hard for myself by keep bringing in that anxiety and that stress all the time. And so it's like I don't allow myself to ever like get better or just be in the flow of things, as you said.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm just taking some notes here so I can process everything. Um, how was your mom? How was your mom growing up? Is for like, was she really stressed or was she kind of a relaxed in her demeanor?
I'd say, I mean, even now, I mean, she'll easily get stressed by stuff. And I think she's just always kind of been that way. Like, if she had more than one thing to do, like that would stress her out. Like, she's just one of those people that doesn't like to like multitask, you know, and have a lot going on, or she gets really stressed.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, for the most part, like she tends to be a little bit more relaxed in her thinking about
Mm-hmm.
things than I am. But I'm definitely more like a oh well, you know, I have this many things going on, but I'm not as like stressed by it. But she gets more
Mm-hmm.
easily stressed, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. So you get stressed by different things, but she can get. So what would she do when she was stressed? Like when you remember when you were a child, what would she do when she would get stressed?
She would just snap at me or my dad. I mean, if we like bothered her, or asked her for
Mm-hmm.
something else, like we have this running joke in our family that like whenever we were about to go on a trip, she would like because she was always like the organizer. She's always like taking everything on herself that
Mm-hmm.
way, you know, and so it was like she always knew like what needed to be done and we didn't know how to do anything and so we should stay out of it. And so then she would just like snap at us and so we'd always like you know, say that like whenever we have to travel anywhere, she becomes like this awful person to deal with for
Mm-hmm.
like until we actually go on the trip, you know, and she's because it's just there's just too much to think of, you know, and so
Yeah.
it's like so yeah, she would just usually like snap at us and stuff.
Okay. And how often would you say, like, how many times per month would you say she would have that situation where she would snap at you?
Oh, I'm not really sure. I mean, she hasn't worked for like so many years now, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
not sure. I mean, I think it was probably worse like when she was working and having to
Yeah.
like, you know, worry about me in school and, you know, and having to make dinner and do all that, all the grocery shopping and all of that stuff, you know. I think that that was worse, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
So
really sure.
yeah.
how
So
often.
when it was at its worst, would you say it was like every day, every week?
Probably at least like once a week. And I think
Mhm.
also what made it worse for a short time too was like she was going through menopause. And
Mhm.
so that like amplified everything too. And that was when I
Mhm.
was like around like sixth grade, seventh grade.
Mhm.
You know, but I mean, before that, I think it was maybe every like week or two or something that she just would have that moment where she was just
Mhm.
like, she just couldn't handle it, you know?
Mhm. Okay. Um, as you were telling your story about this addiction to stress and trauma, that just really came up for me. Um, like something was telling me this has something to do with your mom, and especially, you know, with addiction, um, it's an attachment. It's a like a self-soothing, you know,
Hmm.
and when we use, and this sounds so funny, like if anybody who's in the audience hasn't really thought about this or heard about this yet, it maybe sounds very funny that we use stress as a self-soothing. And usually we do that in when we grew up around stress, and especially if it was one of our parents, because you know our parents are the epitome of like warmth and nourishment. Even if you know some people here may not have had a good relationship with your parents, even if that was the case, on a primal level we still looked up to our parents as like nourishment and safety and protection. So that's really important to understand, because when we associate something painful with that protection, there's, let's see, we're just going to turn off our audio and video. Thank you. Welcome to everybody that just came in. Um, so, how about your dad? Did your dad get stressed very often?
No, he's never been like somebody who gets stressed too easily.
Okay.
He would be like tired after work and stuff, but I mean, he was a social worker. That's like kind of, you know, draining work anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And but I mean, he never like snapped at me or my mom. I mean, it was more like if they had an argument, like they were like having an argument once in a while. But I mean, it wasn't like he ever really reacted in stress like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And okay, so let's go into we're gonna read the energy of the situation just to go deeper. And by the way, to everybody who is watching or just showing up, this is something that you can learn in Recharge or Miracle 90. You can learn this whole process to be able to do with yourself, with your clients. Um, and so we're going to use the energetic emotional release technique to go deeper. So what you're really asking about, Pooja, is this addiction to stress and drama. So we're going to get really clear on that. So I'm going to ask some questions as part of the process of reading the energy. And then Pooja, I'll let you know. And if you can close your eyes, you know, and everybody else follow along as if this was you, okay? And you might have a different type of a situation, but there's some part of this that I know you'll be able to relate to. So tune into your body and just notice, like, what do you feel? What sensations do you feel in your body? Listen to the thoughts that come up, because these thoughts are going to tell you something. You might have, you know, a realization or an insight. All right. So I'm just going to ask, um, does Pooja have an addiction to drama? Does Pooja have an addiction to stress? Okay, so it's more about the stress, and then the stress, you know, then creates the drama. But it's, you know, the focal point is going to be on the addiction to stress. Um, and is this addiction to stress coming from a specific family member. Does it have to do with Pooja's mom? Is this something that was a family pattern? Like, did this go further back from her mom? Was this something that continued through generations? Okay. Pooja, do you remember, were your grandparents around? Did you ever know your grandparents?
They were until I was 7 and 8. My grandmother was around until I was 7, my grandfather until I was 8.
Okay. And do you remember either of your grandparents having that same kind of behavior as your mom with snapping under stress?
No, not really. I mean, I think, but I was so young. I mean, I feel
Yeah.
like, you know, that they wouldn't have really done that when I was around anyway. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Um, yeah, this is what I'm picking up with this process is that there are a lot of there's subtle communication that teaches us, you know, how to respond and how to react to things. And so, you know, this has to do with your mom's reactions, but it also has to do with other subtle behaviors that went along with it. So we're going to go a little bit deeper. Did this addiction to stress have to do with a specific event that Pooja experienced? Okay. And did that event happen between conception and birth? Between birth and 10? Was it at birth? Between birth and 5? Was it age 5? Was it age 6? 7? Okay, so 7. And did this event have to do with her mom? Their dad? Okay. Do you remember, Pooja, anything from when you were 7 with your dad?
you mean like a negative event or something?
Or just anything? Did anything stressful happen? You know, something, it could have been something very significant, or it could have been something, you know, so seemingly insignificant that you may or may not remember it. But does anything come to your mind, you know, anything stressful happen when you were around 7, like first or second grade?
I know he had a couple of hernia surgeries, and I feel like they might have been around that time, but I'm not sure of the exact years, but it could be that.
Okay. Did he have to go to the hospital?
Yeah, he was in the hospital, but then like to have the surgery, but then like he was mostly at home after that, and he just like had to like be on bed rest for like a week or two, I think. But he was in like a lot of pain, but I mean he was on painkillers and stuff, but like he couldn't like laugh, a lot or like,
Mm.
get up a lot or whatever. I just remember that, yeah.
So before he had the surgery, did he laugh a lot, and was he very, you know, move around a lot? Like, was
Yeah,
he very
yeah.
active?
He was very active. He did taekwondo.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, I think that was around the same time. And I was also in taekwondo with him around that time too. And then that was one reason why he got the hernia from
Mhm.
doing that. But yeah, I mean, and he loved like watching funny movies and stuff. So I mean, then when he was at home, he'd like want to watch a funny movie or something, and then it hurt too much to laugh. So
Mm.
yeah.
Well, that's really interesting that the two of you did taekwondo together, which is super bonding. You know, it's a very positive experience. And then, so that positive experience led him to get injured, which, you know, keep in mind for a 7-year-old child, they don't have the ability to like process these events. They just see it for what it is. So think about a 7-year-old child experiencing this, doing something super fun with dad. Dad gets hurt doing that super fun thing. So then that fun goes away. And then dad all of a sudden can't do the fun thing anymore, can't really have fun. Like all of a sudden, dad's not allowed to have fun.
Mhm.
And dad got hurt having fun. So
Mhm.
that's something that really sets up this wiring in our mind of like how we start seeing the world is like, oh, okay, so when I do really fun things, I have to be careful that I don't get hurt. So I can't ever like go full force on things. Like think about if you have a hernia, you have to be really careful. Otherwise, especially if when you have the surgery, if you go all in on like any activity, even laughing, you're gonna get seriously injured.
Mhm.
Um, so that's definitely something that could have contributed to this. I do think, it's the combination. Like if somebody, in a different household experienced this, they may have processed it different. But with a situation like this, and then on top of, your mom getting stressed out really easily and having those snapping moments, and who knows, how stressed she was around this event, and all of a sudden your dad couldn't help her at all. She was already doing everything by herself, but now your dad is like on bed rest for a little while. Now she's got to do take care of him and take care of the home and take care of you. I can only imagine as a mom how stressful that would be.
Yeah.
Um, and so let's just see if we have enough information. Um, so do we have enough information to release this now? Okay. So I know that this goes a little bit deeper, but we have enough information for right now. Okay. And we don't need to really overanalyze this and really dwell on this. It's really about just capturing the energy. And so, Pooja, just from your interpretation of what I've shared so far and what you've, been sharing and feeling, what do you feel is the energy that we're capturing to release?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think it all makes sense, and I think definitely like releasing that need to stress. Um,
Hmm.
like that's not a normal part of life. I mean, it's
Hmm.
like, I mean, at times it happens, but like I shouldn't always be in a state of stress. Like that's not healthy. That's not what I'm meant for. I deserve
Hmm.
better than that for myself. And
Hmm.
that's also what I've kept telling myself. Like I deserve for things to be easy and I deserve
Yeah.
to be in the flow of things. I don't deserve to be stressed all the time.
Yeah. And I think that's like the mindset that there's a good chance that was passed down. And this is something you can, take a look at with your family, maybe ask your parents some questions about, how other family members were. But this is the type of mindset that gets passed down from generation to generation, to generation, especially if your mom was at where she was taking everything on herself. So life was not allowed to be easy for her. If you grew up watching that and then you had these additional triggers and traumas, this is one of those things where from the person experiencing it, like for you, maybe that felt really normal and not a big deal what happened with your dad and with your mom. Like every parent snaps at their kids, but it doesn't make it less impactful, on a spiritual level to the child. So
Mhm.
those are traumas. Um, and so, combining that mindset with those traumas can really make a deeply ingrained pattern um, growing up with this. So I'm really excited that we've gotten, to this and to be able to release this. So if you can close your eyes, and everybody else, you can, like, as I said, you can follow along with us and we can all close our eyes. And I have a feeling we're going to go a little bit over time. If you're able to stay with us and do this exercise with us, it's going to be deeply impactful for you. So if you are able to, please stay on with us. So Pooja, when you tune into this feeling of, and you hear these words of, I'm addicted to the stress, I need the stress in my life. Where, how does your body respond? Where do you feel a reaction in your body?
In my throat and around my root chakra.
Yeah. Okay. And if that feeling were to have a physical form, what would that look like?
Like a black jagged sphere, sort of like with spikes.
Hmm. And do you see the same thing in your throat and in your root?
Yeah, it's like all connected.
Okay. All right. And if you were to think about up until now, how has this need or this addiction to stress been actually serving you? How has it helped you in some way?
I guess it protected me from being hurt by other people. That's what I've told myself, or
Hmm.
what my subconscious has tried to do by manifesting that.
Yeah. And what are some ways that it has held you back?
That it's not allowing me to have what I want. It's not allowing me to just live and flow and to manifest what I do want. And just trusting in the universe. It's like I'm always untrusting of it.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. All right. So imagine yourself surrounded by a beautiful bright light. This light shines down over your throat, over your stomach. And this is that life force that we were speaking of earlier. It completely relaxes your body, your muscles, your bones, your cells. And notice your throat opening up. Notice your stomach opening up. It's interesting, right when I said opening up, the air turned on in my house, the heater turned on. And that's, those sounds are always a sign of, the releasing, especially with that airflow, like things are already starting to release. And notice how, as the light shines down over your throat and your stomach, how that black, spiky mass begins to rise up. What are you noticing, Pooja, as it starts to rise up into that light?
I just feel a lot of heaviness.
Mm, yeah. Feel that light really expanding throughout you. Feel it entering your throat, entering your stomach, and the light encapsulates that black mass. And as it encapsulates the black mass, it's like a hand reaching in and pulling it out. It doesn't take any effort on your part. All you do is you allow, and you just be there for this hand of light to pull it out. And as you release that addiction to stress, notice how easier it is to breathe. Notice how much space you have for true expression. Notice how much space you have to feel safe. And there's a new light that shines down. It shines down right into your throat and into your stomach. And this light is the vibration of love. And it is love for yourself, admiration for yourself. Value and worth of yourself. And this love pours in. And as it pours in, there's so much clarity on that worth, that value, the capability of yourself. And you really see how much you love yourself. And it creates a space of safety inside of you. It creates a sacred space. And it communicates that message throughout your body, throughout your subconscious mind, that I am safe, I am loved, I am worthy, I am complete right now. Feel that love rising up to the top of your head, flowing down to the bottoms of your feet. Feel it circulating through your whole body, your whole mind. Sharing this vibration of pure love, releasing any fears, any doubts, creating this feeling of complete peace, safety, and trust. What are you feeling right now, Pooja?
Like a warmth throughout my body.
Yeah. Really invite that warmth in, and this feels really significant with the situation, Pooja, of cultivating this sacred space and this safety inside of you. And you can even go back to that 6 or 7-year-old little girl who lost so much when her dad got injured, and then continued to lose a little bit every time her mom snapped at her. There was a little bit of disconnection every time, a little more disconnected. You can go to her in those moments and you can let her know how loved she really was. And let her know what was really available to her and what was the truth in those situations. What was the truth for her when her dad was injured and couldn't laugh and couldn't play anymore? And then her mom was stressed and snapping at her. What was the truth?
Everything was really okay.
Yeah. And what did your mom snapping have to do with you?
Nothing.
Nothing. And what did your dad's um, injury and loss of his ability to laugh and have fun have to do with you?
Nothing.
Yeah. And what do you want the little girl inside of you to know about life being fun and easy?
It's supposed to be fun and easy.
Yeah.
Not she's not meant to be stressed all the time and live life that way. Nothing good can come from that.
And what do you think she should do, or what would you like her to do when she comes into stressful situations? You know, when things start to feel extra hard or forced, what do you want her to know in those moments?
That she doesn't have to respond to it. That she can center herself and that she's worthy of just allowing things to flow and to happen for her. She doesn't have to make everything
Mhm.
happen or do everything herself.
I love that. And what power can she tap into when she feels herself stepping into old patterns, or when she has like that slight urge to create more stress or drama? What can she tap into or tune into?
Her own power to create, um,
Oh, yeah.
to create better for herself.
I love that. So, what in those moments when she normally would be tempted to uh, act destructively in a situation that's really, really winning for her, and then she goes into the stress and drama, what can she start creating for herself that moves her forward instead of moves her back?
Love came to mind. Um, Allowing herself to have and create love.
Yeah. And what are some ways that she can create love in those situations?
Being understanding and compassionate, and also not just with other people, but herself too. Being easy
Mhm.
on herself.
Yeah. Yeah. What's coming to me is really listening to herself, listening, just pausing, becoming really present, and finding that love and tuning into that love and bathing in that love. This love that you're flowing into you right now, into your throat, into your stomach, this is always there. This never goes away. And you can just bring your attention back to this. And it's like, oh, yeah, just feeling yourself bathing on the inside with this love. So you can take a deep breath and really allow that love to circulate through you, allow it to integrate into all your systems. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Okay. So, what was your biggest takeaway? And for everybody who's still here with us, thank you for continuing with us. And everybody in the audience, I'd love to see in the chat what your takeaways were as well for you as you went through this process. So Pooja, what were your biggest takeaways?
Um, that because when you had asked like what I can do like in those moments or what the little girl can do in those moments, of stress, like what came to mind was that like I don't need to make everything happen on my own. And I
Yeah.
think that's something that a lot of us forget. Like we think, oh, I need to like make everything happen. I can't trust the universe to. I can't trust it for it to just come to me. I have to like do something. And I'm like a doer, like I'm like that kind of like, even in my friends group, like when I'm planning things, it's like I'm the planner. I have to like figure everything out. I have to get all the details down, you know, but it's like that's just that's for that scenario, that's fine, but it's like I don't need to do that about the things that I want necessarily. I mean, I can follow the impulses, but I don't need to like be this furnace of stress, you know, around it all the time. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can be that doer and you can also be in the trusting and in the flow. And you know, it's like take the action and then step back, you
yeah.
know, and allow things to play out.
Mhm.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for this was amazing. You did a wonderful job with this whole process. And definitely, you know, keep in touch over the next few days and let me know what comes to you. I have a feeling when you go to bed tonight, it's all going to be processing and you're going to wake up in the morning with some new realizations about all of this. And everybody, you know, same to everybody else here. Um, this you have shifted something inside of you as well, and really think about what we talked about around are, you know, on a deep core level, are you allowed, is it allowed to be easy, is it allowed to, are you allowed to be fun, to have fun with it? And if that answer is in any way no, then um, this process is going to help you to shift that.